right here is the picture omitted. And this picture omitted is one that I'll explain to you that I would never share with you, but I'll describe it. It's my son, who now, thank God, is healthy, but at 5 days old, comes back to the hospital room with an open chest after his first open heart surgery. And I can see his beating heart through the covering, because they couldn't close his chest up after his open heart surgery because he was too swollen. And they had to wait for a few more days to close it up. That's the photo that I'm not showing you. And I bring this up because when you go through a situation like that, which I suspect a lot of you have gone through something, maybe not quite as dramatic, but something pretty significant in your life. Some of us come through that with anger or some other emotion. Some of it come through it with maybe a little more compassion. And what it do for me and my family, it renewed our interest and belief in science and medicine, right? I mean, holy crap, you can take a screwed up heart on a 5-day-old baby and fix it. That's pretty amazing. So renewed belief in science and medicine. But I'll take you back to about 5 months before that day. And at that moment, we find out the kid's heart in utero is going to be all screwed up, and we got to do something about it. There's going to be surgery right away. So I'm a dad. I'm a whatever. You're a parent. You're going to figure out how to fix this thing. And so I start to make all the phone calls and try to figure things out. And I think I'm a pretty important person, right? I know people. Right? I make good money. I live in $1 million house, and I know people, right? I know the mayor. I could get to the governor if I needed to, right? I know some billionaires. I'm an important person. And so I start to think to myself, what can I do, right? What am I supposed to do? And I start making calls and find out the right hospital and the right place to go. And I land on this, we land on in the CHLA, which is a hospital in Los Angeles. And we find there's a local charities that help people like us, right, who have to kind of move to LA. I don't want to move to LA. I'm sorry, I don't like LA. Any people in LA here? I live in Orange County, and I've got to move there, and I've got to find a place for a few months and figure this out. And I land on this nonprofit run by this rabbi who helps people find a place to stay and when they have medical issues. And I have this conversation with him, and I start to tell him, I'm important, right? I can work on this. I can fix this thing. And he says to me, essentially, you're nobody. Like, it doesn't matter who you know or how much money you have or where you live. The only thing you're going to get out of this is putting your kid in the hands of the best medical care, and that's it. You don't get to decide anything. You don't have control over anything. It does not matter how much money or how powerful you are. He said, I've had movie executives and billionaires and governors come through this place, and I've helped them. Everybody's in the same boat. You got to rely on that medical team. You have to rely on somebody else to help you through a situation like this. So I learned, right? One, you're not in control. Number two, you have to rely on others. And I learned that you probably ought to have a little bit more compassion for people in every walk of life, because you don't know what they are going through. You don't know where they're coming from in this world. And that's, I think, the basis of what I hope we'll wrap this thing with is my concept of taking 5 steps back. In this world where we're all a little bit on edge and a little bit more angry about things and a little bit more divided, if we can all just look at any situation and take 5 steps back and say, okay, what's the situation here? What they're going through? Should I have some more compassion? And there's a lot of stuff on the news where we could all agree if someone just took 5 steps back and thought for another minute and a half or second and a half, somebody would have been better off.